The idea of wealth never scared him, but the idea of risk always did. His name was Evan, an ordinary man living an ordinary life that felt smaller every year. Safety had given him routine, but it had taken away his excitement. Evan worked a stable job that paid just enough to survive. Every month ended with careful calculations and postponed dreams. He told himself stability was success, even when his heart disagreed. He watched others take chances and fail, and that fear settled deep inside him. Failure looked loud and embarrassing from the outside. Staying safe felt quieter and less painful. But quiet slowly turned into frustration. Evan felt stuck in a life that wasn't moving forward. Comfort began to feel like a cage. One evening, an opportunity appeared that challenged everything he believed. It was risky, uncertain, and far from guaranteed. His mind immediately searched for reasons to say no. People around him advised caution. They reminded him of bills, responsibilities, and past failures. Their concern sounded logical, but it didn't sound brave. Evan spent nights overthinking the decision. Fear whispered about loss and regret. But another voice asked what would happen if he never tried. He realized something painful about comfort. Comfort had never changed his life. It had only kept it predictable. The risk didn't promise wealth, but it promised growth. Evan understood that staying safe guaranteed nothing new. That truth stayed with him. The day he chose to risk, his hands shook. Not because he was confident, but because he was afraid and moving anyway. That was the moment everything shifted. Evan stepped into the unknown without applause or encouragement. The first days were filled with doubt and sleepless nights. Fear did not disappear, but it no longer controlled him. The risk demanded sacrifices he was not prepared for. His income dropped before it grew. Patience became more important than comfort. Mistakes happened quickly and lessons came painfully. Evan failed more than once and questioned himself often. Each failure, however, taught him something safety never had. People who once supported his stability now questioned his choices. Some warned him he was wasting time. Others quietly waited for him to quit. Loneliness became part of the journey. Growth separated him from familiar circles. He learned that not everyone walks with you when you change. There were moments when quitting felt easier than continuing. Comfort called him back, promising peace. But Evan remembered why he left. Slow progress replaced quick expectations. Small wins built confidence day by day. Momentum grew quietly before it became visible. Evan noticed a change within himself first. He became sharper, braver, and more disciplined. Wealth started forming in his mindset before his bank account. The risk was no longer just about money. It was about becoming someone stronger. He realized courage compounds like interest. Months later, results finally began to show. Effort turned into opportunity. Risk started paying dividends. Opportunities began to recognize even before money did. People who once doubted him started asking questions. Confidence quietly replaced the fear he once lived with. The work that once felt heavy now felt purposeful. Long hours no longer drained him the same way. Progress gave meaning to sacrifice. Evan understood that wealth is rarely sudden. It grows slowly, shaped by consistency and discipline. Patience became his greatest asset. Failures still appeared, but they no longer stopped him. He learned to adjust instead of retreat. Risk had trained him to respond, not panic. One breakthrough changed everything. A decision he once feared started producing results beyond expectation. The reward wasn't just financial, it was freedom. Money followed value, not luck. Evan finally understood why some people stay stuck. Playing safe had a hidden cost. He looked back at the version of himself who feared risk. That man had survived, but never lived fully. Growth demanded courage. People now saw him differently. Success changed their words, not his memory. He remembered every doubt that shaped him. Evan realized wealth is not the reward for wishing. It is the payment for action taken under fear. Risk had been the price all along. In the end, he didn't just become richer in money. He became richer in belief, discipline, and control over his life. And that made every risk worth it. Evan began sharing his story not to impress, but to remind others what was possible. He spoke honestly about fear, loss, and uncertainty. People listened because his journey felt real. He explained that risk is not a single jump but a series of daily decisions. Each small brave choice builds momentum. Consistency turns fear into skill. Some tried to copy his success without accepting the discomfort. Evan warned them that shortcuts don't replace courage. Wealth without growth never lasts. He returned to his old workplace one day with gratitude, not pride. That place taught him what safety felt like. Leaving it taught him what freedom meant. Evan learned to invest in himself before investing in anything else. Skills, discipline, and mindset created leverage. Money followed preparation. There were still hard days, but they no longer felt pointless. Every challenge carried a lesson. Struggle became part of progress, not a sign to stop. He stopped comparing his chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. Patience protected his focus. Growth stayed steady when comparison disappeared. Evan realized success doesn't shout at first. It whispers through habits and quiet wins. Those who listen early arrive prepared. Looking ahead, he no longer feared the unknown. Uncertainty became opportunity. Risk turned into a familiar companion. And so the story continues beyond wealth. Evan chose courage again and again. Because once you pay the price of risk, you earn a life of choice. The story ends, but the lesson stays. Risk does not guarantee wealth, but avoiding it guarantees limitation. Comfort feels safe until you realize it costs your potential. Evan learned that fear never disappears. It just changes form. The fear of failure is loud, but the fear of regret is louder. Only one of them pushes you forward. Wealth is not only money, it is choice, control, and confidence. Risk trains you to trust yourself under pressure. That trust becomes your real asset. Those who win are not fearless, they are decided. They move while their hands are shaking. Risk is not recklessness, it is courage with direction. Remember this always. If your life feels stuck, check how safe your choices are. Because risk is the price of wealth, and courage is the currency.